Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Weak verbs, al-mu'tal, and in the weak verbs we are talking about mu'tal al-ain, which is ajwaf. So what are the weak verbs? Yes. Who will tell me about the weak verbs? What are those?
Which has waw and ya as a root letter.
Excellent. Which has waw or ya as one of the root letters. And when these root letters are changed with one another, or when one of them is dropped, then it is called ta'lil. The process of changing the root letters, one weak verb or one weak letter to the other one, that is called ta'lil. And we know this, like we have been practicing it for like 2 or 3 days now. For example, qawala has changed into qala, and yaw'idu changes into ya'idu. So in the first one, the change that has taken place, waw has been replaced by alif, and in the second one, the waw has been dropped. Okay, so mu'tal al-fa is mithal, and in mithal we have learned mithal wawi, which is wajada, yajidu, wa'ada, ya'idu, and some other examples. And mithal ya'i, inshallah, maybe next time in the future. In ajwaf, we have learned ajwaf wawi, which is qala yaqulu, and ajwaf ya'i, which is ba yabi'u. Okay, so we have learned about the past tense. We have seen the changes that take place in the past tense, and today, inshallah, we will discuss about the changes that take place in the present tense. So we start with hollow verbs, ajwaf wawi, and in ajwaf wawi, we will start with the most commonly used bab. Which is the most commonly used bab in ajwaf wawi?
Nasara yansuru.
Nasara yansuru, excellent. And then the second one? Sami'a yasma'u. Yeah, so there are only two, and if we remember two of them, then inshallah, then we will never make a mistake. And we know that Nasara yansuru is very special, where the change takes place when we reach the sixth form of the verb in the past tense. Then what happens? Then we use dhamma, right? In the yes, and in the rest of the abwab we use kasra when we reach the sixth form of the verb. That is the past. So today, forget about the past and let's focus on the present. Okay, do you have any questions regarding the past? We have learned two rules about the past tense. Do you remember those two rules?
Yes, Ustad. If waw is mutaharrik, the before letter is fatha, then
Yes.
the waw is changed into alif.
Excellent. When waw is mutaharrik and before waw we have fatha, then it changes into alif. For example, qawala changes into qala. Okay, and what about ya? When ya is mutaharrik and before ya we have fatha, it also changes into alif.
Into alif.
Yes, for example, baja'a changes into ba'a. Okay, two changes only that we have learned in the past tense. The second change was like when we reach the sixth form of the verb, then either it becomes qulna or it becomes khifna. Yani either we will take dhamma or we will take kasra in the sixth form of the verb. So if it is bab nasara yansuru, we will take dhamma, otherwise we will use kasra. Okay, let's focus on the present tense today. And as we know that the most commonly used bab is bab nasara yansuru. So today we focus on yansuru. We are done with qala. So today we will discuss with yaqulu. So nasara yansuru. The root letters we know that nun, sad, and ra, and qaf, waw, and la. And we know that ya is always extra. This is the symbol of mudare. So this is not the part of the root letters. So if you want to see the root letters, you have to drop ya, and whatever is left will be the root letters. So nasara is basically that these are the root letters. Okay, now we have nasara, yansuru, sorry. So we have yansuru, and in the place of yansuru, okay, let me take you directly to the changes here. Okay, so we have yansuru. So it should be yaqwulu, right? Yansuru. We have ya, then noon is sakin, and then sad has dhamma, and then ra has dhamma. So it is yansuru. Similarly, as we can see here, it should be yaqwulu, yaqwulu, right? Ya here, as we know, has fatha. Here noon is sakin, and here qaf is sakin. And here sad has dhamma, and here waw has dhamma, and here ra has dhamma, and lam has dhamma. But then how and why it has changed into yaqulu? It should be yaqwalu, but we read it as yaqulu. So this is the first change that takes place. Okay, the rule is very simple. When waw has dhamma and the letter before it is sakin, then waw has to transfer dhamma to the sakin letter, because we know that waw and ya are weak letters and dhamma is heavy on the weak letters. They don't like to have dhamma. That's number one. And number two, we know that dhamma is the sister of waw. Dhamma is the sister of waw. What does that mean? That waw and dhamma always come together. We know that, right? They always come together. So it is not appropriate to read it yaqwulu. It doesn't make sense. So what happened? Waw has transferred the dhamma to the sakin letter, and it has become sakin by itself. So after transferring, it has become yaqulu. So it's very simple. From yaqwalu, it has become yaqulu. Why? Because before waw, we have the sakin letter. Then what happens? Waw will transfer the dhamma to the sakin letter, and by itself it becomes sakin, because we know most of the times waw is sakin and there is dhamma before it. So that's why it becomes yaqulu. So the first change is yaqulu, from yaqwala, yaqulu. Is this clear?
Simply, it is the places interchange. The haraka
Yeah,
is
that's right.
interchanged.
The haraka has been moved to the sakin letter because waw has dhamma, and normally waw doesn't carry dhamma. We know that the dhamma comes before waw. It always comes before waw. And now dhamma has seen the opportunity that before it is sakin. So what happened? That dhamma has been moved to the sakin, and it has become yaqulu. As you can see here, yaqulu. So this rule is very simple, and it will be applicable to all the forms of the verb that come on this pattern. For example, if we have ada, it will be ya'udhu. Ada, ya'udhu. From sama, it will be yasumu, right? Sama, yasumu. And similarly, we can see here, qala, yaqulu. That is change number one. That's why we have to look at the base first. Yansuru is the main, it is without the weak letters. So what we have to do, we have to put the verbs that have weak letter in the same pattern, and then we have to see what changes have taken place, and it will be easy for us to see the changes and to learn about the changes that have taken place. Okay, now let's begin from here. First of all, you have to memorize the present tense of yansuru. So you must know yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna, tansuru, tansurani, yansurna. Okay.
Tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna,
tansuruna,
tansurina,
tansurani, tansurna, ansuru, nansuru. Excellent. So if you know the present tense of nasara yansuru, of the yansuru, then it will be easy for you to memorize the past tense of yaqulu, from qala, yaqulu. Okay, so the first change has been implemented here. So here we have yansuru, and here we have yaqulu. So from yaqulu, we continue yaqulu, yaqulani, yaqulun, taqulu, taqulani. And the second change has taken place here, as we know that there are two tracks of the train. So in the beginning of before we start our journey, we have to fasten our seat belts. So we have already fastened our seat belts over here. So the first change we already know. Now we know about it for the first change. And the second change, when there is a change in the track, then there is that we need to be extra careful as well. So we have to make sure that what change has taken place over here. Now here we see yansurna. Yansurna has 5 letters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but yaqulna has 4 letters, right? It has 4 letters. That means a change has taken place. So let's see how and what change has taken place over there. Yansurna, and against yansurna, we are going to put yaqwulna. Ya, noon sakin, qaf sakin, and sad has dhamma and waw has dhamma, ra is sakin and lam is sakin, and noon has fatha and noon has fatha here as well. So we have 5 letters here and 5 letters here, but this is the original construction. But what happens after ta'leel? What happens when we implement the changes? It's very simple. First of all, let's implement the first rule. The first rule that we have learned today. What was that? When waw has dhamma, and the one that is the letter before it is sakin, then waw will transfer dhamma to the sakin letter. Okay. Right? So it becomes yaqulna. Yaqulna. Okay. So now waw has become sakin and lam is already sakin. And we know that al-iltiqa sakinain in Arabic is impossible. So when 2 letters are sakin, we have to delete one. Which one has to be deleted? The weak letter. The weak letter has to be deleted. Excellent. So when we delete the weak letter, so what happens? It becomes, as you can see here, yaqulna. Yaqulna. So that is the second change that takes place. So these are the only 2 changes that will take place in Mudari. And the rest of the 12 forms or the 13 forms, we know that when it is for the feminine plural for the 3rd person, then also the similar kind of change will take place for the 2nd person as well. So the similar kind of change will take place when we talk about the 2nd person. So now is it clear now? 2 changes, both of them are clear?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. So now let's move from here. So we have yaqulna, and this is the only change. Now we need to be careful. In the past tense, there are 2 tracks of the train, and 1 to 5 is one track, and from 6 to 12, 14 is the other track. But here it's not the case. Here we know that that there are changes that will carry on or that will happen. Yeah. So yaqulna, and from after that again it is tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna. Here it is the 2nd person. Tansuru means you help. Here tansuru means she helps. She. Yeah, and yansuru, he helps. Yansuru, they both help. Yansuruna, they all help. Tansuru, she helps. Tansurani, they both help. And yansurna, all of those ladies help. All those ladies help, right? Yansurna. Then when we move on to tansuru, it means you help. Yani anta tansuru. Masculine. Yes, masculine. And then tansurani, you both help. And tansuruna, you all help. And then tansurina, you one lady help. And tansurani, you both ladies help. And tansurna, you all ladies help. And then we have ansuru, I help. And nansuru, we help. Similarly, what happens here? Taqulu means you say. Taqulani, you both say. And taquluna, you all say. So taqulu, taqulani, taquluna, no change has taken place. And tansurina, on the pattern of tansurina, we have taqulina, no change will take place. Taqulani, no change will take place. It's the same as tansurani. But here again, as we will see here, the similar kind of change has taken place. So instead of tansurna, it has become taqulna. Yeah, it has become taqulna, and the similar kind of changes have taken place as we have seen here in number 6. So in number 6 and 12, both of them will take the same changes. So the similar kind of changes we have implemented here will be implemented here as well. So if you are able to learn one, you are able to learn the other rule on the basis of the same rule as well. So then it will be aqulu, I say, and naqulu, we say. Aqulu, I say, and naqulu, we say. So here, yaqulu, yaqulani, yaquluna, taqulu, taqulani, yaqulna, taqulu, taqulani, taquluna, taqulina, taqulani, taqulna, aqulu, and naqulu. Okay, let's practice one word, which is yakunu. Kana yakunu. Okay.
Yakunu.
Yakunu. Yakunani.
Yakunani. Yakununa.
Yakununa.
Takunu.
Takunu.
Takunani.
Takunani.
Yakunna.
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 Excellent. Two changes will
Yakunna.
take place because it is yakunna, because there is, you know, that there are two noons, and two noons will be merged into one, and tashdid will be placed over there, so it becomes yakunna. Okay. Then again here,
Takunu.
takunu,
Takunani.
takunani,
Takunu.
takununa. Okay.
Takunina.
Takunina,
Takunani.
takunani,
Takun.
Takunna.
takunna.
Takun.
Excellent. Okay.
Akunu.
Akunu,
Nakunu.
nakunu,
Akunu.
akunu, nakunu. A'udhu billahi an akuna min al-jahilin. You remember that verse that we discussed maybe yesterday or day before yesterday? So we know that aqulu, naqulu, yaquluna, taquluna, mashallah, all of them are used a lot in the Quran. Now, I have told you that there are two ways. Number one is you memorize one conjugation on the pattern of yaqulu, and on based of that, you can memorize or you can do multiple conjugations. For example, ya'udhu will be on the same pattern. Yaqumu will be on the same pattern. Yakunu will be on the same pattern. That's number one. Number two, if you are interested and you want to see how these changes have taken place and why these changes have taken place, we have already discussed these changes. Now it's up to you, as much practice as you can. And inshallah, the more you practice, the more you will learn. It's up to you now. So you can implement both ways, and it's up to you. Whatever is suitable for you. I have my responsibility was to give it both of you, and now it's up to you which one is easy for you. Inshallah, you can implement and you can carry on. Okay, so we know that ajwaf wawi comes on the pattern of nasara yansuru. Okay, what is the second bab that is used for? Sami'a yasma'u. Okay, excellent. So now we move on to Sami'a yasma'u. And in Sami'a yasma'u, we have learned khafa, that was the past tense, khawifa, khafa, and then we have yakhafu. So it's on the pattern of yasma'u. So let's see, for example, we don't want khafa, we only see the present, which is yakhafu, and yakhafu is on the pattern of yasma'u. Yasma'u. Okay, so now let's see how it has changed into yakhafu. First, let's look at the root letters, which are yasma'u. So ya, then we have sin, which is sakin, and after that we have mim, and then we have ain. So yasma'u. So the root letters will be yakhwafu. On the same pattern of yasma'u, it will be yakhwafu. We know that there is waw over there. So what are the root letters? Kha, waw, and fa. Yeah? Ya is extra and ya is extra. Here we have seen mim and ain, and here we have kha, waw, and fa. So yasma'u, on the pattern of yasma'u, we have yakhwafu. Okay, the same rule we have to implement. We can see here that the letter before waw is sakin, and waw has fatha on it. So what it will do, it will transfer fatha to the sakin letter. Okay, now it has transferred fatha to the sakin letter. So from waw, it has been transferred to kha. But we know that the sister of fatha is alif. You know that, right? The sister of fatha is alif, and the sister of dhamma is waw. So that's why, because this waw is sakin, so that's why this waw has changed into alif. It has changed into alif, and it has become yakhafu. So here, three changes have taken place. In yaqulu, two changes took place, and here three changes took place. What are the three changes? In fact, two changes. The first one is the normal one, which is yakhwafu. So there is no change over there. So the first change that has taken place, waw has transferred its haraka to the second letter. So it has become yakhawfu. And we know that alif and fatha are compatible. They go together, and the Arabs or the grammarians, they say that they are sisters. So it's impossible to separate two sisters. So what happened? according to Fatha, we have to bring in the weak letter, which is Alif. So that's why it has changed into Yakhafu. So Yasma'u, and here we have Yakhafu. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we go back and from Yakhafu, we do the same pattern as we did for Yaqulu. So first of all, we must know the present tense of Yasma'u. As we can see here, Yasma'u, Yasma'ani, Yasma'una. Yes, please with me. Tasma'u.
تسمعوا تسمعاني
Yasma'na. Yeah, you know this one is when it comes to the sixth form of the verb, whether it is
Change.
past or present, there will be a change. Okay. Okay, then we have Tasma'u,
تسمعوا تسمعاني
تسمعون
Tasma'una,
تسمعون تسمعين
Tasma'ina,
تسمعين تسمعين تسمعنا
تسمعنا
Tasma'na. Okay, so
نسمع نسمع.
excellent. So if we have Yasma'na, it will be Tasma'na. They will be the same. So similarly, if we here we have Yasma'una, here it will be Tasma'una. So for the masculine plural, it has to be equal to the masculine plural, and the feminine plural has to be equal to the feminine plural. So here we have Yasma'una, and here we have Tasma'una. Here we have Yasma'na, and here we have Tasma'na.
تسمعنا.
All right, and then with the last two, Asma'u and Nasma'u. Okay. Now, after the change has been implemented, it has become Yakhafu. Yeah, so it has become Yakhafu. So Yakhafu, Yakhafani,
يخافان يخافون
Similarly, as we see here, Yasma'u, Yasma'ani, Yasma'una, Yakhafu, Yakhafani, Yakhafuna. Then we have Takhafu,
تخاف تخافان
Yakhafna.
يخافن.
Now here, you see here,
يخافنا
Yakhafna, yeah. So we will see here, now we need to see why it has changed into Yakhafna. Inshallah, it will be easier. Let's have a look. And after having a look, inshallah, it will become easier for us. So the main or the original form is Yasma'na. What is the original form? Yasma'na. Ya, and we have Ya here. Then we have Sakin, Sin is Sakin, Kha is Sakin. Then Mim is Sakin, Mim has Fatha, Waw has Fatha, Ain is Sakin, and Fa is Sakin, and Noon has Fatha, and Noon has Fatha as well. So this is Yasma'na, and this is Yakhwafna. Okay, the first change, if you remember, what is the first change? The first change is when Waw is Mutaharrika.
Waw is sakin and there's sakin. When waw is mutaharrik and there's a sakin.
The letter before is Sakin,
it gets changed.
it will shift it back sir.
Transfer its fatha to it.
Okay, so it has become Yakhawfna. But Yakhawfna, we know that the sister of Fatha is Alif and not Waw. So that's why we have to change it into Yakhafna. Okay, when it has changed into Yakhafna, now we see here that there is Iltaqa'u Sakinain. And which one has to be dropped? The weak one has to be
Alif.
dropped. So when the weak one gets dropped, it becomes Yakhafna. It becomes Yakhafna. Very simple. It is very simple when you are doing with me, but inshallah, when you practice, initially you might find it a little bit difficult, but once you get used to it, inshallah, then you will find it easier. So on the pattern of Yasma'na is just Yakhwafna, and then Waw has transferred its haraka to the second letter, it has become Yakhawfna, and we know that Alif and Fatha are compatible, they are sisters. So that's why instead of Waw, it has changed into Alif. And when we have Iltaqa'u Sakinain, then we have to drop the weak letter, and then it has become Yakhafna. So when we have Yakhafna, then for the second, for the second person, it has to be Takhafna. We know that, right? So it has to be on the same pattern. Yakhafna and Takhafna. Let's see. So here, Takhafu, Takhafani, Yakhafna, right? Yakhafna. Okay, Yakhafna. What will be the meaning of Yakhafna?
The all ladies.
For the female.
You all ladies fear, yeah?
Ladies, female.
You
Fear.
all ladies
all
fear.
ladies for 100%
Antunna,
fear.
Antunna, sorry.
Antunna, la, hunna yakhafna, hunna yakhafna. Hunna yakhafna.
Hunna
Yeah,
yakhafna.
هو يخاف هو يخاف
Yes.
هما يخافان
Huma.
هم يخافون
هم يخافون
هي تخاف
هي
تخاف
هي تخاف
Huma.
هما
وما
تخافان
تخافان
ما
لا
تخاف
يخافن
هن يخفن
هن
هن
تخافن
يخفن يعني all those ladies fear the meaning of يخاف means to fear so يخاف he fears they both fear and they all fear
they all
she fears
She fear.
they both
Both
fear
of
they
them
both
and
fear.
they all fear
You all
all
لا لا
ladies
لا not you they
Yeah, yeah.
they all
all fear okay ya belongs to they so please remember this that ya belongs to they and ta belongs to you.
You all.
Okay, so tasma'u is here. Takhafu, you fear, you masculine fear. Takhafani, you both masculine fear.
both
And takhafuna, you
تخافون
all
you
masculine.
all
You
masculine
men fear, yeah, you all men fear. And takhafina, you,
She.
she
yeah, la la,
she fear
anti,
You
anti,
female.
anti,
You.
anti, anti, you
Yeah.
fear.
Anti
Yeah. Anti
you fear
takhafina, you fear. Antuma takhafani, you both
Both of
ladies
you.
fear. You both ladies fear.
تخاف
And takhafna,
Until
you
You
all
all
ladies
ladies.
fear. Yeah,
ladies
you
fear
all ladies fear. Akhafu, I fear. Nakhafu, we
نخاف
fear.
we
we
fear.
all
Yeah. Akhafu Allah, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nakhafu Allah, we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Akhafu and nakhafu. So for the first time, if it is a little bit, if you are finding it difficult, you can write down, you can write with the pronouns, for example, huwa, huma, and hum. For the first time, you should write with the pronouns, and then inshallah, it will be easier for you to learn if you are finding it a little bit difficult. But since it's a verbal sentence, that's why I am avoiding to use the pronouns, because when we use the pronouns, then it becomes a nominal sentence. And the nominal sentence, we have discussed about nominal sentence a lot. For example, when you say huwa yasma'u, then it becomes a nominal sentence, yeah. But when we say yasma'u, then it is a verbal sentence.
verbal.
Okay, so both of the changes are clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what was the other verb that we practiced? Do you remember?
ضرب يضرب سمي
No. Samia Yasma'u, no, Nasara Yansuru and Samia Yasma'u. So what was the other one that we have learned?
Today, sir.
No, for the past. We have learned Khafa Yakhafu and
Kala.
no. I am not talking about Nasara Yansuru.
Yesterday lesson.
I'm talking about Samia Yasma'u. On the pattern of Samia Yasma'u.
نام ينام
Nama Yanamu, okay. Yanamu, okay, so.
كاد يقول
Kada, yes. But Kada Yakudu is also on the pattern of Nasara Yansuru. But we are talking about the pattern of Samia Yasma'u. So Samia Yasma'u, the same verb is on the pattern of Samia Yasma'u. We have Nama Yanamu. Yanamu. From Yanamu, let's do it from here. So Yanamu. Yes.
ينامون
Okay.
Yanamun.
تنامون
Tanamani.
ينامون
Tanamna.
La.
So yanamna.
Yanamna, yes. Okay, so Tanamu, Tanamani, Yanamna. Okay, this one is a little bit, yeah, Yanamna. Okay.
Yes, hunna.
Yes, Hunna Yanamna. Okay, then
تنامون تناماني
Tanamani,
تنامون
Tanamuna,
تنامين
Tanamina,
تناماني
Tanamani,
تنمنا
Tanamna,
Tanamna.
أنام
Anamu,
ننام
Nanamu.
ننام
Nanamu, okay. Nanamu. Yeah, Anamu Mubakkiran, I sleep early, and Nanamu Mubakkiran, we sleep early. So if you are able to write down these, and if you are able to write down one sentence for each form of the verb, and then it will be, inshallah, you will never forget about it. Or if you try using it when you're sleeping, Al-Yawma Anamu Mubakkiran, today I will sleep early, and kulla yawmin anamu mubakkiran, every day I sleep early, then inshallah it will be easier for you to learn. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, as I told you before, that I do not want to give you more than 2 rules on a daily basis. So inshallah tomorrow we will practice the rules for ajwaf ya'i. Today we have practiced
Inshallah.
for ajwaf wawi. For ajwaf wawi, there are baban. One is bab nasara yansuru, and on the pattern of nasara yansuru, we have practiced qala yaqulu. And then the second one is the most commonly used is samia yasma'u, and on the pattern of samia yasma'u, we have practiced khafa yakhafu. Khafa yakhafu. Okay. Did you have the chance to have a look at the handouts of this lesson that I sent you earlier? Because this lesson I sent like on Thursday, if I think I remember. But I know that we have been like discussing about the verbs a lot. However, this unit has also some other points which are very important and which are new as well. So let's get out of the verbs because we have been discussing a lot about the verbs and move on to the other points in this unit. We have some other points in this unit as well. And one of them is al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. Al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. Okay, you know that there is a, and we have discussed about this earlier, that there in Arabic there are 5 objects which are called al-mafa'ilu al-khamsatu. 5 objects, al-mafa'ilu al-khamsatu. Maf'ulun, and the plural of maf'ul is mafa'ilu. Okay, al-mafa'ilu al-khamsatu, 5 objects. So literally it will be translated as 5 objects. Number 1, we have learned al-maf'ul bihi, and we use it a lot. What is al-maf'ul bihi? I didn't write the English today because I want you to
Object.
the
Direct object.
the direct object, yes, the direct object or the direct receiver of the action, al-maf'ul bihi. And the example is here, qara'tu al-Qur'ana. Qara'tu al-Qur'ana, I recited the Quran. Okay, so qara'tu, I recited, fail plus file, and al-Qur'ana is maf'ul bihi. Maf'ul bihi. So that is called maf'ul bihi. Number 2, we have learned al-maf'ul fihi. Al-maf'ul fihi. Okay, what is al-maf'ul fihi?
It's regarding the time, day.
It tells us about the time, like what time the action took place. Okay, the time of action. So that is called al-maf'ul fihi. Qara'tu al-Qur'ana sabahan. Qara'tu al-Qur'ana sabahan. I recited the Quran in the morning. Okay, so here al-Qur'ana is maf'ul bihi. Here al-Qur'ana is maf'ul bihi, and sabahan is al-maf'ul fihi. This is al-maf'ul fihi. That's why it is mansub. We must know that maf'ul is always mansub. Maf'ul is always mansub. So here we have al-Qur'ana, this is mansub, and here we have maf'ulain, right? We have we have maf'ulain. So for the first one is maf'ul bihi, and the second one is maf'ul fihi. The third one is called.
This is more detail, Ustad.
Yeah, it gives
This
us
one,
more
fihi,
details. Exactly, that's right. Like how the action took place, when the action took place, where the action took place. So that is when we come to know about the use of maf'ul fihi. That gives us some extra information. For example, when you say qara'tu al-Qur'ana, so I would understand that you recited it today, any time of the day. But when you say qara'tu al-Qur'ana sabahan aw masa'an aw laylatan, so that would specify and give me more information that you are saying that you recited the Quran in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. So that is for more detail. Al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. Al-maf'ul al-mutlaq it means the absolute object. It is called the absolute object. And this is the most beautiful and this is the most commonly used maf'ul in the Quran. Okay, now basically, let me take you back to the beginning of the lesson. And oh, I don't have it here. So let me see. Okay, can you please tell me something about Nasara, the past of Nasara, the present of Nasara, and then
Nasara yansuru
and the masdar.
unsur.
Nala, give me the masdar as well.
Nasran.
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 Okay. Okay. Why are you saying Nasran? Why don't you say Nasrun?
Nasran, because it is maf'ul.
Fa'il.
Sir, masdar has no rule, sir.
You see, this is something that you already know, but today you will know the reason why we speak masdar, why the masdar has to be mansoob all the time. So when we use al-maf'ul al-mutlaq, that means the absolute object. In absolute object, we have to use masdar, and that masdar will be always mansoob. So what we have to use masdar of the verb. And why it is used for 4 reasons, but the only reason that we are going to discuss today is it is used for emphasis, for ta'keed. It is used for emphasis, okay? So for example, nasara yansuru nasran. So why it is nasran? Because it is al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. Why it is mansoob? It is maf'ul al-mutlaq. Mutlaq, okay? So nasara nasran, it would mean he helped a lot. Nasara means he helped, but when you say nasara nasran, that means he helped a lot. Daraba darban. So when you say daraba, he hit, but when you bring in the maf'ul al-masdar, it means that darabahu darban, yani he hit him severely, or he punished him, or he hit him a lot. Sami'a sam'an, I heard hearing, that means I heard carefully. And fataha fathan, he opened opening. Fataha fathan, so this is al-masdar. When we bring in the masdar as maf'ul, that is called al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. So that's the reason why the masdar is used as mansoob, why it is used as mansoob. So that's why we say nasara yansuru nasran, daraba yadribu darban, sami'a yasma'u sam'an, fataha yaftahu fathan. So this is the usloob, this is the most beautiful usloob of Arabic language, where masdar is used as maf'ul mutlaq, it is used as mansoob, and it is used for emphasis, not for emphasis only. Only today we are focusing that it is used for emphasis. However, it is also used for some other reasons as well. But in this lesson, okay, Irfan, maybe you remember the first verse of Surah Fath. Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. You see here? So inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. Over there, you see that fathan has been used as maf'ul mutlaq, and mubina has been used as an adjective. And there are many examples of in the Quran. And the example that I have chosen today is warattilil Qur'ana tartila. Yeah. So rattil, is it verb form number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? Yes, so this is not number 1, this is number 2, right? Number 2, okay, so that's why here it has been used as maf'ul mutlaq, and it has been used here in the Quran, warattilil Qur'ana tartila. Can you see the page of al-maf'ul al-khamsatu? Can you see that page?
Yes, Sister.
Okay, all right, excellent. So here tartilan has been used as absolute. Yes, maf'ul mutlaq. Similarly, in the Quran, there are many examples in the Quran. Kalla idha dukkat al-ardu dakkan dakka.
Saffan
Saffan safa, but yuhibbun al-mala hubban jamma, right? And there are many examples in the Quran. Okay, but the thing is here, what I want to tell you, the reason why we need to learn Arabic, and the reason why we need to know that translation will not help, because I have seen like 6-7 translations, and everyone has translated it in a different way. But I will tell you that when you want to translate maf'ul mutlaq, it should be translated as, this is my own translation, and I'm not saying this is translation, this is my own interpretation of maf'ul mutlaq, that it means that you should do something as it deserves to be done. And like we say in Urdu, jaise karne ka haq ho, do something as it deserves to be done. Perform some action with absolute perfection, with complete perfection.
Like Allahumma arinal haqqa haqqan.
Yes. Allah what is due? Yani. So it's impossible to translate, honestly speaking, and that's why only for this verse of the Quran, you see here, I've seen like there are different translations over here. So the first one you can see here, which is, I think, these translations I have taken from Quran.com. I don't remember. I think the first one is by Mufti Taqi Uthmani, Hafizahullah, and the second one I don't. Yeah, the second one I don't remember, and the third one is from the sisters, which is called Sahih International Translation. And here, and recite the Quran. So the first one, Warattil here, everyone has translated here as recite. And recite the Quran, and recite the Quran, and recite the Quran. Everyone has translated here as recite, yeah? Warattil al-Quran, but for tartila, everyone has different way of translating it. For example, the first one is and recite the Quran clearly with tartil in a distinct and measured tune. And the other translation is and recite the Quran slowly and distinctly. And the next one is and recite the Quran with measured recitation. So you see, if you are really interested in knowing how, what it should be, so if you really know that the meaning that al-maf'ul al-mutlaq is used for, that's why we call it absolute object, that it is used to give absolute meaning. So the translation will not give you that absolute meaning, whether you see this in Urdu or in English, because the translators are restricted to translate it as per the rules of translation. And they cannot translate it here, recite the Quran as it has to be recited, as it must be recited, as it deserves to be recited. So this is what you and I know now, that the reason why we call it al-maf'ul mutlaq, it means the absolute object, that means do something in a perfect possible way, without leaving any weakness or anything, do it perfectly. So that's why we call it al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. And inshallah, there are many other examples in the Quran. In fact, there is no surah. Let's say there are many surahs, or there are many. In fact, every page of the Quran, you will find out these examples. Kallama Allah Musa takliman, right? And there are so many messages. Kallama yukallimu takliman. So, and inshallah, in the next lessons, we will also learn that it is also used for some other meanings. But in the Quran, most of the times, and mainly, it has been used for emphasis. It has been used for what? For emphasis. And the reason why we are discussing it today, because it is also one of the points of the lesson number 27, because I want you to go through the points again. Leave the first two ones, because the first two are all about the weak letters. And we have been discussing the weak letters, and tomorrow, inshallah, we will complete them. So the next week, inshallah, we are going to start the lesson. But I want you to clear all the points before we start the next lesson. So I think it has 6 or 7 points. So 1 and 2 you have to leave. Point number 3 is clear. And please have a look at 5, 6, and 4, 5, 6. And also don't forget to look at the vocab, because this unit has lots of vocab, lots of new words, and you have to memorize them all before we start the lesson. Any questions?
No, sir.
Alhamdulillah. So the summary is, we have learned only 2 rules of the mudari, and then we have learned about al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. That's it. So only 3 things that we have learned today. And we have learned about the present tense of ajwaf wawi, and tomorrow, inshallah, we will learn about ajwaf ya'i.
So this maf'ul mutlaq is derived from the like rattil, tartila, like
Yeah,
that.
the masdar of rattil is tartil. The masdar of rattil is tartil. What is
This is one of the ultimate form where it can be derived only from the verb.
That's right. What is the masdar of sabbaha?
Tasbih.
Tasbih. Sabbaha tasbihan. Yeah. Dhakkara tadhkiran. Qattala taqdilan. So all of them are al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. All right. Okay. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah.
وإياكم.